Everybody, it's Bruce Kulick, and you're listening to the Record Spinner. They rock.
What's going on, vinyl community? Welcome to another video with the Record Spinner. Today's video is going to be the third and finale in a series where I talk about my favorite Kiss songs from each studio album. So far, the first two installments focused on the 1970s and 1980s respectively. This time around, and very fittingly, I'll be focusing on the studio albums that came out during the 1990s and beyond. Granted, there aren't many Kiss albums that came within this time frame, so this video will run a bit on the shorter side, but hey, all good things must come to an end. Simple enough objective, so enough of the chit-chat. Let's jump into what this video is all about. First up, my favorite track from Revenge is Thou Shalt Not. One of the things I love about the Revenge album is that it marked the return of Gene. After going Hollywood in the 1980s and leaving Paul to lead Kiss throughout the decade, it seemed like he finally felt comfortable within the Kiss context in the early 1990s. Maybe it's down to his grungy look at the time with the facial hair and the leather overcoat, which was definitely at the ante of the Demon persona. And Thou Shalt Not is no exception to that sentiment. This track being a collaboration between Gene and Jesse Damon, who was in the band Silent Rage that Gene had signed to his Simmons Records label at the time, and he also sang background vocals to several songs on this album. The track retains that muscle that can be heard throughout the album. I love how the kick drum and the bell of the ride cymbal really drive the introduction, and Gene's vocals are downright venomous with utmost conviction. Gene based some real-life encounters and biblical themes with this track's lyrics, which Gene had described as being a hybrid of The Who's My Generation and the sort of go fuck yourself ideology, so it makes for a very individualistic track. Next up, my favorite track from Carnival of Souls is I Walk Alone. This is a collab between Gene and Bruce, and very much like what the track Little Caesar from Hot in the Shade was for Eric Carr, this song marks the only time Bruce Kulick sang lead on a Kiss track instead of the original idea of Gene singing it. Bruce's voice makes for a nice contrast. It doesn't have the husky growl of Gene or the soaring highs of Paul's. Instead, it kind of rides within a manageable middle ground. With Carnival of Souls being Kiss's attempt at being grunge when the genre had died down years prior, it features a lot of heavy riffs, cool harmonies, and what makes it more distinguished is a lot of the reverse production, particularly the opening guitar motif and the drums during the instrumental break. Overall, just a cool yet different track in Kiss's massive catalog. Next up, my favorite track from Psycho Circus is We Are One. This track by Gene is another one of those songs that strays entirely away from the Demon persona and is very melodically driven. Lyrically, this song conveys the connection between the band and its fans, and it's such an uplifting, feel-good song, and there's something about it that always tugs at my heartstrings and gets me sometimes emotional anytime I hear it. Maybe it's because of the fact that Kiss has been such a huge part of my life since I was a kid, and even though it was never exactly a phase I grew out of, and I still love the music and image to this day, that fandom keeps the kid in me alive. And even though Kiss is basically done, I still get excited when there's a new release, some uncovered relic of audio or visual media, a cool new product that's within the budgets, a bootleg, anything with a Kiss logo. I immediately light up and become engaged. And I think We Are One drives that pure fandom sentiment. Next up, my favorite track from Sonic Boom is Stand. It was 11 years until Kiss graced the masses with a new studio album, and I know that a lot of old school fans tend to take a piss out on Sonic Boom and Monster, but for me, this was a big deal because I had accepted that Psycho Circus could have been their last album, so it was exciting to live within the product of the time. From the moment this album came out, this song instantly became my favorite because it has plenty of Kiss trademarks, such as the trade-off vocals between Gene and Paul, an anthemic chorus, and lyrics regarding friendship and standing by one side. Even the track's arrangement almost mirrors God Gave Rock and Roll to You, with the guitar and harmonies middle break, and despite new songs typically being the bathroom break for legacy acts, this song easily could have been a stage favorite. Last but not least, my favorite track from Monster is Right Here, Right Now. Alright, technically this was a bonus track featured on some editions of the album, but honestly this could have been such a fantastic general album closure, and I guess the band thought of it highly enough to give it its own lyrics/music video, and it was Eric Singer's favorite track from the album. This track from Paul and Tommy is a simple rocker that hones in on the sentiment that the only time that matters is now. It's your typical Kiss feel-good kind of tune, and I have to say it has a slight cinematic touch reminiscent of what producer Bob Ezrin contributed to the group, particularly with the tubular bells in the middle section. So there you guys go. That is part 3 of my favorite Kiss songs from each studio album from the 1990s and beyond. This was truly a fun series to tackle and shine a light on what some of my favorite Kiss songs are, and maybe if you watch the series, it enabled you to perhaps revisit these songs and make you think of your own list of favorite tracks from Kiss's catalog. Speaking of which, what are your favorite Kiss songs from each of the 1990s onward studio albums? Please drop a comment down below, I'd love to know. And if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the records spinning.